Now that I've gotten the Dirge of Cerberus one out of the way, it's time to move on to Crisis Core. I almost feel like I need to switch over to the other one. I'm gonna have to get another USB hub at this point. Anyways. Yeah. Crisis Core. 7 sessions, plus 11 to story, plus 25 to gameplay. Yeah. Let's not waste time. Let's get right on into it. No cheats. Because it's PS5, I don't have access to it on there. Anywho, let's proceed. Brickwork was 2 positives. Definitely a breath of fresh air after Dirge of Cerberus. I gave Doodads 2 positives, which I didn't give any Doodad positives in Dirge of Cerberus. I'll try to stop. Animations. I felt the animations worked this time. The tone, the themes both got a point. Visual storytelling got a point. The voice acting got a point. Wait. I don't really care for the recasts, but several of them did grow on me. So, cool. Overall, the recasts are pretty bad, though. I think I gave it 2 negatives for the recasts. And yes, that is a thing I can ding, and that is a thing I ding being as established with the with Cold Steel 4. So there you go. The humor was honestly on point throughout the game. The gameplay story integration is worth a triple positive. The music direction was excellent. And I love the digital mindwave as a source of banter and side scenes, which are now fully voiced. Which also gives you great insight into characters such as Cisne, Sung, and even Sephiroth. Wow, I put music direction twice. But you know what? I'm willing... I'm willing... And I am willing to do this. I'm willing to say the music direction is 2 positives. Anywho, presentation positives, 16. Much better. Well, I should say much better, but definitely better than Dirge of Cerberus was. Now let's get into the characters. Zack was a triple positive. Are you really surprised? I enjoyed Lazar. I felt he was interesting. I do like Sephiroth in this game, as this is the game that shows us his fall to the dark side. I still say I would love a continuity where he doesn't fall to the dark side, but that's just me. Make the main continuity the one where he's full villain, and then have a side continuity where he is actually a hero. I found Sung to be an interesting character, even if his characterization feels at odds with how he was in OG, though that was inconsistent at best, so shrug. Cisne is my favorite Turk, no question. She's a fun character, and I honestly love that about her. That's it. That's the only character positives. Not a lot. This game doesn't have a lot of characters. And no, I didn't feel Cloud warranted a plot positive. Sorry. Alright. Moving on. I really like the Wutai mission from a story perspective, as it sets things up nicely and has great character moments for Zack. It also makes for an effective intro, in my opinion. So effective, in fact, that I feel it warrants 2 positives. I really like the training room flashback with Sephiroth, Genesis, and Gil when they're on the Shinra's holodeck there on the Junon cannon. That was cool. And it also helps show why Sephiroth is upset at Angeal and Genesis's defection. Then there's Nibelheim's Seven Wonders. Yes, it took that long for another for the story positives didn't really pile on and very high on this one, and if you can't tell. But anyways, the Nibelheim Seven Wonders are interesting as background lore, complete with an off-screen cameo from Vincent. See you again in Rebirth, buddy. Then there's Nibelheim, which is simultaneously excellent and awful in equal measures. I'm pretty sure I gave a triple positive and a triple negative to Nibelheim in general. As the insights it provides are interesting, but are mired with the limited presentation and Reunion's refusal to add scenes, though they added voice acting to dialogue, which was previously text only. It works wonderfully, but frustrates the shit out of me in equal measure. So, yeah, triple positive, and I'm pretty sure I gave it a triple negative. I love the idea of the Turks trying to find Zack before the army does, as it really shows how much Cisne and even Sung, in his own way, cared about Zack. So, good stuff there. And then there's the final bit of gameplay with the digital mind wave breaking as Zack dies, which is wonderful gameplay story integration and is a forced to lose fight done right. It is even paced better than the PSP version, even though that one was well paced as well. Either way, either version, this is a beautiful send-off for the game and earns a triple positive. Then there's Zack's death and this entire ending, frankly, which are beautiful and really highlight how great these characters are, and I feel it is perfectly handled, so triple positive there. Helped by Fulfilled Desire being a wonderful song to end on. Excuse me. And despite all the Genesis crap, I do feel this outro is wonderful, and I can't help but give it a triple positive. Also, that post-credit scene is excellent in terms of both setting up the OG and being a wonderful bookend. Hell, you could even go so far as to say that it leads into remake well enough too. But let's not get into that. Now so that was 42 story positives. Let's get to the story negatives, because as you saw, there's only 11. The net score was only plus 11. The first two are for the recasts. Oh, yeah. I get that some of them, it couldn't have been helped, but some of the others just make no sense. Recasting Reno being my biggest hang-up. I'll concede that this is petty, but miscasting is a complaint that I have had before. Just ask Cold Steel 4 about that. Then I gave a second negative for the casting, as they really did not know what they were doing. This negative fun fact actually came up specifically with one particular scene in Junon. I was banging on about how it was like, I would have really liked it if they had cast Josiah, the voice actor for Claude, as Zack, as I feel like his voice would have been perfect, right? Like, I listened to Claude and I'm like, that's basically Zack right there. Here. And I'm like, okay, so maybe he wasn't available and blah, 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 blah. Josiah voices a random Shinra soldier in Junon. I literally had to walk away from the fucking game and take a breather, either because of how pissed off I was, and then I gave the second recasting negative, because that's how much that pissed me off. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? He's right there. It's not even like he's unpopular. He has gotten plenty of good roles. Ugh. I also feel the voice direction is worse in Reunion than it was in the original. It's so bad that almost every line I mean, that should have weight and emotion, doesn't, in my opinion. I really do feel like, honestly, pull up the cutscenes from the original and then compare them with Reunion, and it is night and fucking day. It's like, Jesus Christ. Who told the voice actors in Reunion to sound like fucking cardboard? Ugh. Then there's cutscene incompetence, impotence, rampant in many scenes. And then the pacing is also sadly bad. We fast forward through events way too quick because the story needs to pad out the run. It needs to pad out the run time. Speaking of, there's a lot of padding in this story. Did we really need the flower cart, stolen wallet, and random go nowhere attacks on the Shinra building padding out the runtime? Yeah, I don't think so. Like, seriously, the Shinra building gets attacked like 2 or 3 times, and it's like, and nothing comes of it any time it happens. It's like, what? Ugh. Only 8 presentation negatives, at least. Now let's move on to the onto the characters, shall we? So Angeal. Angeal is not interesting as an antagonist at all, as his actions do nothing but confuse and irritate me to no end. His platitudes about honor are shallow at best. Hypocritical at worst, and he betrays Zack for no real reason when the game tries to paint him as a good guy, and that is just wrong. Then you combine that with his shitty end, and he ends and it all adds up to a triple negative. Then there's Yuffie, who is fine at first, but the more of her side quests you do, the more she feels shoehorned in here, and that is honestly just terrible. She is a cameo at best, padding at absolute worst. Speaking of padding, let's talk about Genesis, shall we? He is boring as a villain, which is not helped by the garbage voice direction in this version. Ugh, God. Combine that with the fact that he is, by definition, Diet Sephiroth, and the fact that narratively he is a square peg trying to go into a round hole, and yeah, he's just triple negative. I also gave Tifa a negative, as there really should have been more. She should have had more of a role in Nibelheim, but she literally just shows up for her big scenes, and that's it. You wasted the waifu of the Final Fantasy VII setting. What the fuck were you... What the fuck were those monkeys drunk on when they wrote this shit? But that's it. Just 8 character negatives. Now let's get into the moments that pissed me off, shall we? Use brings about wear, tear, and rust, and that's a real waste. I fucking hate this line. It sounds like wisdom, but it's just Angeal being dumb as fuck. And if you question me on that, go back to the OG FF7 and watch some of Cloud's limit breaks in action. Never mind the fact that it is basically said to bookend a joke that, in my opinion, isn't that funny. Combine that with them shoehorning that line into Zack's dialogue later, and you have a recipe for a triple negative. Like, I get the idea. He doesn't want his sword rusting, but is weapon maintenance not a thing in the Final Fantasy VII universe? Is sharpening your sword not a thing in the FF7 universe? Well, apparently not, because the ultimate end goal of the original Buster Sword is to be a marker for Zack's grave, even having children. Ugh. I would argue this is worse than Peter Davison destroying Tom Baker's scarf. Doctor Who fans know what I'm talking about. Then there's the confrontation with Angeal where he reveals his wings, which really bugs me, as Angeal is making excuses to justify his actions, and they feel hollow to me, as Hollander is clearly just using him in Genesis, and honestly it makes them both come across as petty. And also paint thinner guzzling dipshits, but that's a side issue. Then there's the reveal of Angeal and Genesis's genetic origin. This is the big Hollander, or mwahaha, evil plan reveal speech. It's annoying to me, despite the fact that I love the song that plays during it. The problem with the scene is that it paints both Hollander and Angeal as paint thinner buzzling? Did I really type buzzling into this thing? Paint thinner guzzling morons, as Angeal basically commits suicide for basically no reason, and Hollander is an idiot that thinks he is accomplishing something when, to quote Hojo of all people, Hollander couldn't cure a cold. I hate this scene that seems to exist solely to torment Zack, and that is just no. Square Enix does this a lot. It loves torturing its characters, and I fucking hate it. That's why I actually like Trails so much, because when characters get mind-fucked in that series, it's usually backstory stuff, and or there's something that the characters can bust through, and when they do, it is a triumphant yes! Instead of just marching the characters to their execution. / trying to rip the joy out of them. Which is kind of fitting for this game, because that's kind of what the narrative is doing to Zack, if you really think about it. Then there's the Yuffie quest chain, which is just awful. While it doesn't contradict anything we know about her from the OG FF7, it makes her a brat with zero redeeming qualities, and thus her quests devolve into boring, repetitive slogs, even from a story perspective. Yeah. Then there's the triple negative I gave Nibelheim. Like I said, triple positive and triple negative. I was right. I should stop doubting myself. And I admit that it's not helped by the fact that because this is a prequel, we have to have Zack lose in the cutscene, even if he wins in gameplay. And that was the final story negative I gave the whole game. Everything else was either a wash, which was all of the Genesis crap, and that brilliant outro. So there you go. 31 story negatives. Now let's shift over to the gameplay now. Plus 25 to the gameplay. Let's start with the gameplay positives. Music. Duh. Tutorials were good. Info in game got 2 positives. Quality of life is all over the place. Excellent HUD, which honestly feels less cluttered than in the OG, which was really only slightly cluttered. So I gotta give them props for that. Now, granted, it's tiny PSP screen versus a giant TV, but you get my point. It still feels less cluttered, which is good, right? So, good map and missions. I liked the core combat this time, ended up giving it 2 positives. I gave both the combat animations and the summon animations positives. I like the digital mind wave as a mechanic. I feel it really, really works. If you're wondering why I wrote it out here, this was the first positive I gave digital mind wave. That's why I wrote it out, and then it was just DMW and every other positive and negative it appeared in. I feel it is an interesting mechanic, and again, I do like that you can not only level up in combat, but multiple times. The only thing that honestly sucks about it is the randomness of it. I like the combat interface, which I honestly think is actually better than the OG. Go figure. Each level feels like a good amount of growth, meaning that the game has a nice power progression curve. I also like that limit breaks give you a boost to your HP, MP, and AP, and this boost can surpass your max. That's good. In other words, if I have, let's say I have 500 max HP, the power surge from the limit breaks can boost me up to like 750. That's what I mean. So yeah, triple positive there. Then there's the mid-mission checkpoints, which are good, especially in the side quests. The side quests only being accessible at save points means you're encouraged to save, because hey, the save point is right there, so you never have to really worry about losing progress. Yes, and you don't lose progress in the side quests anyway, so there you go. Well, I mean, what I mean is you don't lose this unless you turn off the game without saving. You're not going to lose the side quests that you completed. I absolutely okay. So there's some good encounter design, and I really like materia fusion. Oh my god, it unlocks relatively early on, and it can be used to quickly boost your power, the power of your materia, and it's easy and intuitive to use. So yeah, triple positive there. There's the triple positive for gameplay story integration. The Limit Break Healing Wave is basically a weaker version of Aerith's Great Gospel from the OG, and I love it for that. I do like that status effects do not stick around after battle. That's really nice. None of them do. I actually tested that. That's really good. Oh. I put encounter design twice. You know what? I'm going to stick to my guns on that. I do think the encounter design is good enough to warrant 2 positives. Whoops. That's the second time I've had to do that. Do I hear 3? Good enemy variety. Eddie, I like it. I really like the Wutai missions as an intro. I think we're done with the well, actually I shouldn't say that because there's still the gameplay negatives. Anyways, I really like the Wutai mission as an intro, so that's cool. The side quest boss from Last Challenge, Arachno, was honestly awesome and shows how a Guard Scorpion fight would go in an action RPG combat system, as opposed to how it goes in Remake, but we'll get there eventually. I like the Hojo side quest during Chapter 4, a fun and unique challenge. Bahamut Fury is a good boss fight, even if it really doesn't seem like it in the main story version of the fight. His attacks are varied, it has an epic feeling, and is just plain fun. I also really love the final gameplay section with the digital mind wave breaking as Zack dies. So yeah, this is the same triple positive I gave the story. I just copy and pasted it into both gameplay and story. And then I gave a positive to the outro on the gameplay. I gave a positive to New Game Plus. And viscerality, when the game actually gets there. There. So, 40 positives in total. Now, let's go through the 15, yes, only 15 gameplay negatives, shall we? The randomness of the digital mind wave. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Right? Because basically means the power progression curve is based on luck, as in the player's luck, not the stat. I thought the game avoided it, but nope. No Treasure for You is here. Here too. Now, it doesn't happen very often, admittedly, but there are a few treasure chests in the side quests where it's right there, but the digital mind wave was like, nope, entering combat mode. You're not allowed to grab that chest. Fuck off. Even Kingdom Hearts, I'm pretty sure it gets this right, but I suppose we'll see when we eventually get there. There won't be. Which won't be the next marathon, it's actually going to be the marathon after that, because we still got to do the Star Ocean marathon. Now, the game doesn't really have a status effect fetish. Not really. Really. I was bouncing back and forth on that, and ultimately I decided no. It does have a fetish for stun and stop, which is just like, oh my god. There's too many enemies that keep doing that to you, and it's like, oh, piss off. Also, death. Jesus. You basically have to keep a safety bit on the entire goddamn time, which sucks. Ugh. The missions also love spamming you with status... Oh, I guess I did give a status effect fetish negative. Negative. In particular, stun and stop got a triple negative by themselves, and then the side quests' tendency to keep spamming those on you also didn't help. I also feel the encounter rate is just too damn high, which ended up getting a double negative placed in it. I also feel it's not helped by the fact that causes audio spam. And then there's padding issues all over the goddamn place as a result of that. Never mind some of the padding in the missions. Good lord. Then there's the G Devastators, which can go to hell. One wrong move and you're dead regardless of anything. And even keeping your distance isn't that great, as they constantly use Osmos to drain your MP. Combine that with their obnoxious 150k HP, and you have a recipe for a triple negative. What I mean by regardless of anything is they effectively have this life shaver attack. Oh, you have a safety bit on? Doesn't matter. Your 7,000 HP means nothing to life shaver. Dead in one hit. Because screw you. And oh my god, dude, the missions love fucking spamming those assholes. The side quests love spamming those fucking assholes at you left, right, and center. Hate it. Then there's the Hollander Chase, which just is a little too long and is way too stop and go for me. And I really don't like the sniper section, as it controls like ass and is really bullshit with its hit detection. Fuck the janky padding. And that's it. So I guess we didn't have 3 on the this is actually a double positive in it because I accidentally put it twice, but I stand behind that. But yeah, no, that's it. That, my friends, is Crisis Core. Or a really good game, just not as good as I remember. Which is fine. Not everything has to be, the height of everything. If everything was, Daybreak, Cold Steel 3, and FFVII levels of quality, gaming wouldn't be as awesome as it is. My opinion. Anywho, that's going to do it for me. So, the next game on the docket, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Obviously, from my perspective, I haven't even started streaming that yet. I'm probably going to do so within the next week. I'm probably going to make an announcement on Discord that I'm most likely going to start that on probably the 2nd of January and just start getting those going because, yeah. I don't want to lag out my thing, so let's actually check with my phone, shall we? So if you give me a moment, I'll give you a bit of a... And so... Oh, wow, you won't be seeing this until, until, like, late January. I'm in late December, for reference. So, there you go. But regardless of any of that, I'm going to chop off, so I will see you around for Remake, and then Rebirth. Till next time, Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walkers, signing out. Have a good one.